Okay, ready? Okay. I've been a confirmed New York City action junkie since I first visited the place in August 1972. Coming from a small town on the Texas-Mexico border, the place entranced me. My father picked my brother and me up at LaGuardia, and that same day we took the Circle Line tour around Manhattan. Everything I had seen from afar was right there in front of me. I moved to Brooklyn a week after I graduated from college, and I had the time of my life for the 11 years I lived there. The museums, the concerts, the subway, lots of romance up and down. And the learning, I studied Yiddish, Hebrew, and Russian. I got married in 1989 at Brooklyn's Kane Street Synagogue. Within 2 years, the crack craze and a desire for a suburban lifestyle drove us out of Brooklyn to Norwalk, Connecticut. Still, over the next 3 decades, I took Metro North in a lot, especially as a commuter with that golden go anytime, go anywhere monthly pass. The last time I visited the city was in February 6 months ago. I was in the audience of the public radio show Live from Here at Town Hall, which was a great place to go. And then we all know what happened. When will I return? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Metro North feels very iffy. The riots and the rising crime make me extremely wary. The subways, no way. Everything that attracted me is closed or gone. Museums, theater, the joy of walking around with a camera. If I went in, I'd spend all my time looking over my shoulder and assessing human threats around me. And then I'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks when I got back to Katona. The fact that I may not be there again for months, years, ever, is a harsh thing to realize. It makes me look back on those 11 years living in Brooklyn and the Astoria section of Queens with a great deal of fondness. Those were dangerous years in New York, but I never had any problems. The memories go on and on. I like going to City Council President Carol Bellamy's midnight walking tours in the summer. On one in the Bronx, I first encountered something called breakdancing. Another time, I went to go see 42nd Street with college friends of mine during a blizzard. The only people in the audience were us and a lot of Japanese tourists. But the show must go on, and it did. Other memories? Donating blood at Gracie Mansion, and Mayor Ed Koch strolled around, bigger than life. The newspaper strikes, Shakespeare in the Park, rallies for Soviet Jewry, standing on an unemployment line in Brooklyn 3 years after graduating from Princeton. A humbling experience for an Ivy Leaguer expecting some kind of smooth linear career arc. Rolling into JFK Airport at dawn on return flights from Israel, England, the USSR, thinking, I'm home. Playing tour guide for visitors from Texas. I always enjoyed that. Walking down the middle of Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn during a snowstorm, a time of swirling silence and delight. Learning about jazz by listening to Phil Schaap on WKCR, the Columbia University station. Going to listener events at the Bottom Line, sponsored by NEW-FM, which I don't think exists anymore, certainly not in that format, where rock lives. Being in the press contingent at Rikers Island in August 1988 to hear Public Enemy perform Fight the Power and Don't Believe the Hype. I think some of the footage wound up in a video. That would be also one of the highlights of my career in journalism. Hearing Kinky Friedman and Johnny Paycheck at the Lone Star Cafe, which is long, long gone. Going to dance places like the Cat Club, Limelight, Visage, once going to CBGB to hear a Friends band. Buying jazz and blues at the incomparable Tower Records at 4th Street and Broadway, and later at the Virgin Megastore. Picking up used records at St. Mark's Sounds. Grabbing the Village Voice on Wednesday to check out the apartment listings, entertainments, and the singles ads. More recently, I got my start in open mics at literary salons hosted by a friend of mine named Monica Day on Houston Street, and going to other venues. I also remember going to Brooklyn's Prospect Park for concerts by artists like Lila Downs and the Texas Tornadoes. One thing that showed I kind of was moving my entertainment options a little upscale was surprising my significant other with dinner at the Russian Tea Room and then Brazilian music at Carnegie Hall right next door. Attending the January 2017 Women's March, I always liked to be where the action was, to check out what was really going on. And now, 2020, the Village Voice, the record stores, most of the bookstores, they're all gone, vanished, even before the pandemic and rising crime. Celebrate Brooklyn, great music series in the summer, well, that become way too long a haul from the suburbs to get there and get back. No marches in the pandemic for me. Well, what's left? Even if I lived in the city, I don't know what I would be doing. So I'll always treasure these memories and many, many more. And what future memories are possible, I don't know. I don't know what I can do if I can't even get to Grand Central. I'm still in New York's orbit, like I've been for a lot of the past 40, 45 years, but it feels more like Pluto, a distant and inhospitable rock, than the sun that warmed my days back then, at least for now. I can only quote the rueful thoughts of the bard of big city life, Frank Sinatra, who observed, "So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things." Thank you.